Good morning, one and all. In the last class, we discussed about introduction to exception handling, what is exception, advantages of exception, what is exception handling, and what are the types of exceptions. We are having we discussed about two types of exceptions, checked and unchecked exceptions, and their syntaxes along with them, and what are the also we discussed about exception handling mechanism. We discussed about 5 keywords of exception handling mechanism to manage. They are try, catch, throw, throws, and finally. And we discussed about their syntaxes with examples. Now we are going to discuss about uncatched exceptions. Uncatched exceptions. Okay, now if an exception is not catched, uncatched means what? It's not catched. If an error is not catched, that is the meaning of uncatched exceptions. So if an exception is not catched, it is interrupted by a function called the uncatched exception handler. Once the error is not catched, okay, now it causes the interruption. Some interruption will be occurred by some function. So when you are performing some function, some task, so when the errors are not raised and not shows, automatically the process will be interrupted. Okay, now that type of exceptions are called uncatched exception or uncatched exception handler. The uncatched exception handler always causes the program to exit. So according to this, when we occur this uncatched exception situation, it interrupts the program or application. So in this case, automatically we are exit from our program execution part. Okay, na? So automatically it will be come out from this particular execution part. Okay, na? But may perform some task before this happens. So before going to exit from the task, from the execution of a particular program, it will be perform some task. Okay, now the default uncatched exception handler logs a message to the console. Console means what ma? Output screen, okay, black screen, before it exits the program. So automatically the default uncatched exception handler logs message. It logs the message to the console. Okay, now it gives the message to the console before it exits from the program on OS X operating system. If the application was launched from the shell, okay, now the log message are sent to the terminal window. Okay, now automatically the message will send to the terminal window. You can set a custom function as the uncatched exception handler using we want to custom this particular function. The uncatched exception handler using the NSNet uncatched exception handler function. So it's use the NSSet uncatched exception handler function. You can obtain the current uncatched exception handler with the NSGet uncatched exception handler function. So we want to set, we are using the NSSet uncatched exception handler function. You can obtain the current uncatched exception handler. We want obtain means we want to get. Obtain means we want to get. So with the help of which function? NSGet uncatched exception handler. NSGet get uncatched exception handler function. So we want to catch. You can set the custom function. We want to set the custom function as the uncatched exception handler. Which function we are using? NSSet uncatched exception handler. We want to obtain the catch current uncatched exception handler with the help of which function? NSGet uncatched exception handler function. The consequence of the uncatch exception. So, what is the consequence of the uncatch exception? So, we can see here the points. Uncatching, catching one of Java's standard exceptions. So, we want to catch some Java standard exceptions as the preceding program does. So, whatever the program we are going to proceed, we can does, has a side benefit. It prevents abnormal program termination. So, what it will prevent? Abnormal program termination. Okay, now abnormal means it is not normal. General program execute కానటువంటి situation is called abnormal program. From this situation it will be terminated. When an exception is thrown, so when the exception is thrown, it must be catched by some piece of code somewhere. So, it can be catched by some piece of code. So, automatically the when the exception is thrown, automatically it catched by some piece of code somewhere. When an exception is thrown, it must be catched by some piece of code somewhere. In general, if your program does not catch an exception, generally what will happen? Our program is not catch the exception, then it will be catched by the JVM. So, who will catch this particular exception? JVM, Java Virtual Machine. The trouble is that the JVM's default exception handler terminates execution. So, what is the problem here? The JVM's default exception handler terminates the execution and displays a stack trace and error message. So, automatically it displays the stack trace and error message. For example, in this version of the preceding example, the index out of bounds exception is not catched by the program. So, here we can see let us JVM handles the error, okay. But how it will handles? Once it catch the exception, it displays the stack trace and error message, okay. Now, so you can see here class not handled, okay. Now, what is the class name? Class not handled. Open the class. So, write the main method. So, here write the main method. So, in this main method we are using array. So, here we can assign this arrays int nums equal to new int, okay na? That is we can declare here. Next we can print this. What we are going to print? System.out.println before exception is generated. So, what automatically we get the message before exception, okay na? So, then what happened? Generate an index out of bounds exception. Automatically it generates the out of bounds exception, nums 7 equal to 10. So, then we can close the main method, then we can close the class. So, it will give the error actually, but before going to halt, okay na? The exception is thrown, but it will be halt. So, what will be happen when the array index? So, this is array index. When the array index error occurs, yes, we are giving an error here. So, the array index error will be occurs, execution is halted. Automatically what will be happen? The execution will be halted. It will halted means what? It will be going to terminate. So, this is the meaning of uncatched exceptions. The exceptions are not catched. So, while during the program execution, okay. Now, before going to execute, it gives the some message. So, that is called uncatched exceptions. So, we want to set that we are using a ns set uncatched exception function. We want to get this, we want to get using ns get unchecked exception handlers. So, here we are taking the example, okay. Now, here we wrote the index error index is wrong, we are mistaken somewhere else, it throws the exception. So, before going to execute, it will gives this particular stack trace or an error message. So, it will be halt from the particular execution part, okay na? This is when the error index occurs, execution is halted. Next, so this is a very important concept, multiple catch clauses, or it is also called as exception handling using multiple catch blocks. Okay, now multiple catch clauses or exception handling using multiple catch blocks. Okay. So, here we can see in some cases, so more than one exception could be raised by a single piece of code. To handle this type of situation, you can specify 2 or more catch clauses, okay, now each catching a different type of exception. Okay, now suppose whenever more than one exception could be raised and more than one error could be raised by a single piece of code and one block of code. Okay, na, a particular block of code or a single piece of code, we are getting more than one exception. Okay. To handle this type of situation, suppose we want to have, we need to handle the particular type of situation, then in this situation here we can specify 2 or more catch clauses. Okay, na? So, 2 or more catch clauses, more than one, 2 or more, multiple catch clauses, that is the meaning of 2 or more means more than one, and means what, 2 or more than 2, that is the meaning of multiple catch clauses. So, each catching a different type of exception. Okay, now each catching block can be take a different type of exceptions. So, that is the definition of multiple catching exceptions. So, when we in some cases more than one exception could be raised in a single piece of code, in a single block of code. To handle those exceptions, we can specify more than one catch clauses. So, each catching a different type of exception, that is the meaning of multiple catch clauses. Okay. When an exception is thrown, so suppose when an exception is thrown, each catch statement is inspected in order, and the first one whose type matches that of the exception is executed. After one catch statement executes the other, or by passed and execute continue after the try catch block. So, first one exception is thrown, each catch statement is inspected. So, once the exception is thrown, each catch statement is inspected. So, they can inspect and observe the particular thrown in order, according to order, and the first one whose type matches that the exception is executed. So, whatever the exception is matched to the particular try catch block, so then only that will be executed first. Then the next statement will be executed according to the particular matching with the particular try catch block. Okay, and then the statements can be passed by one, then and they can match, then only they can execute according to the order. Like this, the execution will be continuous after the try catch blocks. Okay, na? That is the main motto of this. So, syntax here. So, try keyword. So, in this block we wrote code that might throw exceptions. So, what is the try block? It can this code that might throws an exception. It's try to might throw an exception, then catch. So, whatever the exception is throws. So, the catch keyword, the catch block will be catch it, that exception. So, catch, within the parenthesis we can write exception type 1. So, more than one exceptions kada, that is exception type 1. So, the object name is E1, the object name is E1. So, in this block we can write code to handle exception type 1. So, according to that exception we can write the code to handle the particular exception type 1. Okay, then so more than exceptions we can more than one, that is why we can write more than one catch block. Okay, na? So, again we can write another catch block. Okay, na? That is object name is E2. So, in this to handle the exception type 2. So, here in this block we are having the code to handle the exception type 2. okay na, like this and so on. How many exceptions it will be catch and try and throws the exception and catch the exceptions. Those exceptions can be handled according to the sequence, okay na, and until that catch exception type n, okay na, then write the code of a particular thing, okay na. Like this we can write the syntax, okay. This is the syntax for multiple catch clauses or exception handling with the multiple catch blocks, okay. Then here is the example we can see here, it is clearly understood you. So, here we can take the public class. So, to access anywhere, for this we are using the public modifier or specifier. So, this is the what is the class name? Multiple catch block 1, multiple catch block 1, that is the class name. So, that class is what? Public, that class is what? Public. We can access anywhere, we can use this particular public access modifier or specifier. Already we learned how many types of access specifiers are there: public, private, protect, default, okay. Already we discussed and we learned, okay. This is the keyword class, this is the class name. What is the class name? Multiple catch block 1. Already we know the syntax, how to write this, how to write the class name. It starts with the uppercase letters and okay, and also each word also we can start with the uppercase letters, okay. Then we can write the main function, public static void main. So, here then we can open the main function. So, open the class here, in this class we can write the main function, open the main function. So, according to syntax we need to follow here, then only we, when the syntax is remaining to you, automatically we will write the program easily. That is a very easy, we can write the programs in the exceptions, okay. So, first according to syntax which keyword we are using? Try, okay now. So, write the try keyword, open the try keyword, here we can write the code, okay now. Here we can assign, we are using array indexing concept. So, int a of equal to new int, and what is the size of this? 5. So, here what is a now? A of 5. So, what is the a now? A of 5 equal to 30 by 5, 30 by 0, sorry, 30 by 0. So, here we can write this. So, then close it. So, catch arithmetic exception. Here we can perform what? Arithmetic division, that is why what? Arithmetic exception, okay. So, for E, exception E. So, then we can print it, system dot out dot println arithmetic exception occurs. Then catch array index out of box exception E. Then we can write system dot out dot println array index out of box exceptions occurs, and catch exception E. So, now we can write catch exception E, system dot out dot println, so parent exception occurs. Then we can print system dot out dot println rest of the code. So, automatically here we are getting an error. So, actually ikkada em undali? 5 undali, 30 by 5. So, here we can get the error here. So, it throws here. So, it performs the arithmetic exception. So, system dot out dot println. So, arithmetic exception occurs here. So, when it arithmetic exception will be occurs. Then catch this, then it will be print array index out of bounds exception occurs. Then catch exception E, the system dot out dot println parent exception occurs. So, then the system dot println rest of the code. So, automatically it will throws, okay na, it will here it will execute this. So, according to this it will the error. So, it will generate the particular output, arithmetic exception occurs. So, we are not mentioned them. So, that is why it is not. So, finally, the compiler comes to here, okay na, then it will print this last statement. So, the rest of the code. So, like this will be, it throws the exceptions, according to them it catch and execute the particular program. So, this is the output finally. So, this execute this, arithmetic exception occurs and rest of the code will be executed. Next, here also another example to example program to demonstrate multiple catch blocks. Okay, na? So, here the class name is multiple catch demo. So, this is the class keyword, this is the class name. So, open the class and write the main method in the class. So, write the try keyword, try block. So, in this int a equal to arguments dot length. What is the a? How to assign the particular variable, integer variable, arguments dot length. Okay. Then we can print system dot out dot println. So, a is equal to, we need to print this, a ni print chestunam manam. Okay na? So, according to this initialization, int a is equal to arguments dot length. Okay, that is why we can print a. So, already we know that how to execute the write the variables while printing. So, a is equal to within the double quotes plus a. So, next int b is equal to 42 by a. So, int c is an array index equal to 1 initializing, c of 42 is equal to 99. So, here we can initializing declaring the particular variables according to that integer data types, some are the normal integer and some of the array indexes. So, then according to this any exceptions will be occurred, they can be the try keyword is try to catch those exceptions and throws, then the catch block will be catch them. So, then it is the arithmetic exception e, system dot out dot println e. So, then catch array index out of bounds of exception e1. So, then open this, then print this. Okay, na? System dot out dot println after try catch block. So, what will be happens? Then it will close this block and close the main function. So, here in this program we are while executing what will be happens, we can see according to these steps. So, in this program will causes a division, actually what is that we can perform the division operation by 0, by 0. So, by 0 exception. So, there is no it is we can perform the division operation by 0 exception. If it is started with no command line parameters, since a will be equal to 0. So, there is no command line parameter, since it will treat it as equal to 0. It will survey the division of your providing a command line argument. So, this is the command line argument, actually command line arguments dot length, int a is equal to argument dot length. It starts with 0 without any variable, that is the meaning of it, arguments to something large than 0. But this program will cause array index out of bounds exception, since the int array c has a length of 1. But the program attempts to assign a value c is 42. What is the size of c? Is the 42. So, output in the case 1 we can get the output like according to the case 1. In the case 1 Java multiple catch demo. So, a is 0, exception in thread main java dot arithmetic. So, the exception is by 0. After try catch block, the case 1 Java multi catch demo testing argument. So, initially a is what? It will be 0, but then next a is 1. Exception in thread main java dot lang array index out of bounds exception, array index out of bounds after try catch block. So, like this we can get this output. Then nested try statement, nested try statement. So, nested means what? A try statement is inside the another try statement, that is the meaning of nested try statement. Already we learn so many concepts, okay, nested if, nested while, okay, na nested switch statement, and these are the different types of nested statements we learn. Okay, now here we can learn about nested try statements. So, the try statement within another try statement is called nested try statement. Okay, now nested try statement. So, an if statement inside the if statement is called nested if. A for statement inside the another for statement is called nested for. Okay, like this. So, the try statement within another try statement is called nested try statement. So, here we can see what is the importance of this nested try statement. Okay, now, the try catch block can be nested. So, it may be nested. One try catch block can be present in the another try bodies is as usual. The meaning of the above statement you can describe here. So, what is that? The try catch block can be nested. One try catch block can be present in the another try's body. This is called nesting of try catch block. Okay, now, each time a try block does not have a catch handler for a particular execution. Okay, now, each time a try block does not have a particular or a separate catch handler for a particular execution. The stack is unowned and the next try blocks catch, that parent try blocks catch. Okay, now, handlers are inspected for a match. Okay, if no catch block matches, then the Java runtime system will handle the exception. For example, if there is no catch block matches to the particular try exceptions, so then in this situation, then the Java runtime system JVM, Java runtime JVM having its own runtime system, that is why Java runtime system will handle the exceptions. Okay. Sometimes a situation may rise where part of a block may cause one exception and the entire block itself may cause another exception. For example, oka block lo oka exception manaku occurrindi and another entire the program will also get another exception. In such cases, exception handlers have to be nested. So, in this situation, the exception handlers to be nested. So, in which situation this will be this type of situation occurs means, sometimes a situation may rise where a part of a block may cause one exception and the entire block itself may cause another exception. Such a type of situation, the exception handlers have to be nested. So, in nested try block or statements, each time a try statement is entered, the context of that exception is pushed onto the stack. Okay, now, every time the exception context will be pushed onto the stack. Inner try block may or may not have catch statement associated with it. Inner try block maybe it having the catch statement or not, according to associated with it. If an exception is thrown from inner try block, then first inner catch statement or matches, then if no match is found, then outer catch blocks are matched. So, if the inner statements is not matched, then they can it is going to found the outer catch statements are matched. Okay, now, if no one is found, the outer catch blocks are matched. If there also no match found, అది ఇన్నరు కాదు outer కాదు, there is no match found, the default handler will be invoked. What is the default handler? The default handler will be invoked. If match found, that catch block will be executed. If the match is found for inner or out, whatever it may be, so the catch block will be executed. So, there is no inner or outer exceptions are not found, the default handler will be executed. So, however, if outer try block throws exception, then only outer catch blocks are matched. Whenever the outer try block throws an exception, so then only outer catch blocks are matched. Okay na, according to inner catch block exception throws cheste inner catch block inner try block exception throw cheste, according to that inner catch block will be executed. Okay na, otherwise outer try block is throws an exception, so automatically the outer catch block will be matched and executed. So, both are not matched, according to that the default exception will be invoked. So, this is the syntax: try, open the try block, statement 1, statement 2. Then, so inner, this is the inner try block, this is the outer try block. Outer try block we can wrote some statements. So, then we can immediately we can write without closing a inner. Already we know the syntaxes we learn in the C and Java also. So, how to write the nested loops. So, then after the statements wrote in a external try block, so immediately we can write the internal try block. Okay, now write the internal try block, open it and write the statements in the internal try block, statement 3 and statement 4. Then close the internal try block. So, then close the internal try block. Then we can write catch keyword or catch block. So, what is the syntax? Already we learned in the previous classes. We have to remember the syntaxes. Automatically it will be easy to write the programs. Okay, now catch exception type E1 object name. So, open it and write the code related to this particular exceptions 1. Then close the catch block 1, then close the outer catch block try block, then write the catch exception type E2 and write the code of the particular another catch block. So, this is the syntax for the particular nested exception. So, this is the example program for demonstrate try statement. So, class nested try. So, this is the class name. Open the class, write the main function in the class, write the try block. So, and we can print it, and also write the internal try block, and we can catch the first try block, internal try block and external try block and print them. So, then we can whatever the exception we will get, we can automatically it can execute the program. Okay, na? So, when it will match the throws exceptions according to the matching, the first one will be executed or second one will be executed. This is here I mentioned the statements how the program is going to executed according to the case wise, case 1, case 2 and case 3. Okay, now we can read and study them easily, it will understood to you. Okay. So, in the according to case 1, when you execute the above program with no command line argument, a divide by 0, it will be a divide by 0 exception is generated by the outer try block. Case 2, when you execute the above program with one command line argument, it generates a divide by 0 exception from nested try block. Since the inner try block not catch these exception, it is passed to the outer try block whether it is handled. Case 3, if you execute the above program with two commands command line arguments, an array index out of bounds exception is generated from the inner try block. So, in these cases the above program is going to be executed. Okay, na? So, in this class we learn about different concepts. What are those? Uncatched exceptions, okay, na? And also how we can execute uncatched exceptions and all. and what are the multiple catch clauses or exception handling functions or keywords according to those examples. Okay. So, I hope all you understood according to these concepts. Okay. This is the output for this program. You can see how it will get according to the cases wise, case 1, case 2 and case 3. In the last class, we are going to discuss other concepts. Okay. Thank you one and all.